Today I'm going to talk about vacuum lines on a Ford Ranger 3.0. So to start, if you have a stock, and you can tell this isn't stock here, if you have a stock line, the vacuum line next to the throttle body will go to three, it will have three hoses off of it. The first hose, or not the first hose, but one of the hoses is going to go to your purge valve here. The other line will go to your fuel damper, and again, this would be like a 2000, I believe, 1 to 2005. So post in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but that's what I understand. Would go to your fuel damper, and the third one's going to go to your the vacuum reservoir right here. So I'll go through some of the other vacuum lines. The one farther up also goes to the larger one also goes to the purge valve. The next port over here, and then your third port, the one facing the firewall, is your vacuum booster for your brakes. So a couple things to keep in mind. The other line that a lot of people get confused with here is this the heater core valve right there, and you'll see a vacuum line off that. That vacuum line comes from the cab on the passenger well. If that line usually comes disconnected, the biggest thing you'll notice is at higher speeds, your vents in the cab will go to defrost. But that is not in the engine bay. It goes back into the firewall for the vacuum valve. So, again, mine's a little bit different. I just go straight to the damper, then straight to the reservoir. The things to keep in mind, and it's sort of hard to film this where it's at. There's three hoses on the purge valve. The top one is the small line that goes to the port by the throttle body. The second one goes to this big port here, the purge valve, and the third line goes back to the canister in the rear. So that bigger line will go underneath the truck to a purge valve that's over by the fuel tank. So if you're wondering if your your vacuum lines are working right or not, one of the biggest things is in the cab, your vents, if you're having problems, the vents will go to defrost. That's your first sign that you have a problem. That the Rangers, especially the 3.0 liters, are finicky when vacuum lines aren't working right. So generally you will get certain errors that sort of point you to the direction. But the purge valves themselves, if you get an alarm on it, it's not or if you go to fuel the truck up and the gauge or the pump just is barely filling up, it's usually a sign of a bad purge valve. That does not mean your vacuum lines are wrong. It can, but 90% of the time these purge valves just don't last that long on these trucks. So doing a simple check of your vacuum lines, I have some videos about that. You can do a vacuum test. If you have the line break between the reservoir, it can cause you problems as well. The reservoir line, so from the port by the throttle body to the reservoir, it is one line, and the other line goes back and through the cab, feeds into the right here in the block here that goes to your environmental controls. If there's any problem at all, and you can see the block there, you're going to be troubleshooting from this and have to run a new wire out to the new hose out to the reservoir. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to show an 06 and newer vacuum line setup for the 3.0. Also don't have an EGR on this truck. If you have an EGR, the hoses are going to be different. What trucks have EGRs? Again, if someone knows what the difference is and why some trucks have EGRs and not, I've owned 3 or 4 different 3 liters, and I'm just trying to remember here. I never saw an EGR on the 3.0s, except for 2006 and newer. This is a 2008 Ford Ranger 3.0, and they did a lot of updates on the hoses and stuff. Not really where they go, but just it's a completely different set of hoses and stuff like this. This one does have an EGR on it. So again, from the throttle body here, there's 2 hoses that come off of it. One hose goes to the EGR here, and then the EGR line breaks and goes to the actual EGR valve itself. This is the, I guess, to be the EGR solenoid and the EGR valve. So from the solenoid, a line will then run to the EGR valve. And the other line goes around right through here and goes to the reservoir. And it is identical from the reservoir back into your cab. As you can see, just like the other truck, you have a valve, a heater core valve here, or a heater core valve hose on the hose, or a valve on the hose itself. Just like the other one, if the hose comes off, one of the signs is at higher speeds, again, it's going to go into defrost. So, or through the defrost vents. On the purge valve, there's only one line from the second port that goes to the purge valve on this truck. There's not a third one that goes back to the throttle body port there. And then again, the line goes back to a canister by the fuel tank. This port, again, is on the other truck, just goes straight to the booster. On this one, it does go back to a valve in the intake hose, so it's a different intake hose on these. And I don't know if you can bypass that or not. I've never had to, but this is the only difference really between the other truck and again with the EGR. I'm not aware of a damper hose. I looked at the schematics. I didn't see anything with the damper, but keep in mind that if you follow the hoses, if you had a damper, you would know, because the damper is usually over there on that fuel rail, and I don't see it on this truck. It might be in the part of the tank setup on this truck. Again, same troubleshooting steps as the other car. If it's stuck on defrost, then you need to check your hoses, make sure they're good. But the purge valves on these trucks have the same problems known to fail. Generally not a vacuum line issue, but if you're getting EGR air, or not EGR, if you're getting EGR, then your valves you may have a broken hose there too. But if you're getting the purge valve airs on the computer, check your hoses then. And other than that, the vacuum lines are real simple on Ranger 3.0s. They're not complex compared to other Mustangs I have. They're very simple to troubleshoot. But I wanted to put this video out to help anybody that's working on the car. Again, 2 hoses come off the port on the upper intake by the throttle body. One goes to the solenoid, the other one goes to the EGR solenoid, the other one goes to the reservoir, which is the same location as the other truck. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
So if you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell if you want some notifications. See you next time on Chasing Mustangs.
Thanks.
All right.
Great job.
Yeah, I see it like literally every day.